Hello and welcome to Road.cc. Now, you joined me bright and early this morning, far too early in fact, because we are going to ride to work together. I know that's quite exciting, but Ribble wanted us to come up with our perfect commute. So without further ado, I'm running a bit late, so let's get to work.
First, we're going to need a bike for the job, and I'm in no two minds about what I'm picking. For me, an e-bike is the logical choice. It'll help me get to work efficiently and without getting too sweaty.
Oh, and yes, before you ask, I do work for a cycling website that actively encourages people to ride to work, and no, we don't have a shower, so paying conditions.
In traffic, they are great because it's easy to get up to speed away from lights, keep that speed on the hills for very little effort, and they can also help you to keep up with cars, which is handy when traffic gets heavier. But the ride to work is only half the story. My commute is going to be the only chance I get to head out on the bike during the week, and I want something that I can use to head into the lanes and blast up some hills for about 45 minutes.
For this dream commute, I've got Ribble's Endurance ALE. This is an e-road bike and it uses an e-bike motion rear hub motor that gives you 250 watts of pedal assist. Combine that with the bike's relatively low overall weight, you've got quite a punchy ride. This is the same kind of platform as the actual acoustic Endurance SL, and it comes from the same stable as the more expensive Endurance SLE. Now that won eBike Tip's Bike of the Year award. Now, to make this perfect for my commuting duties, there is one thing that I absolutely must have, and that is mud guards. Now, in England, it rains on any given Tuesday, and I like to wear what I'm gonna wear to work on the bike. Another important consideration to make is your tyres. Now, tubeless seems to be all the rage these days, and while it might make sense on the road, I really think it makes sense when commuting. Tubeless generally prevents those little punctures that would make you late for an important meeting or whatever. And even more important than that for me is tyre width. I'm going to be riding a mix of surfaces today, and this bike comes with 28mm tyres as standard, so that extra width over my road bike is really appreciated.
The first part of my commute is pretty simple. I want to get to work efficiently, using as little energy as possible. That's going to mean using some bigger roads and, annoyingly, riding in rush hour traffic. This is one place where the e-bike comes into its own. There are loads of traffic lights and pedestrian crossings on my route, and being a well-behaved bike rider, I'll probably be coming to a stop quite a few times. That constant slowing down and speeding up can be really draining, so having the helping hand from the motor makes a huge difference, especially over the course of a week as the miles rack up.
Hills are just annoying when you want to get to work. Often there is one on your route that will fill you with dread in the morning, and that just isn't the best way to start the day. With the e-bike, I'm just able to kick back on the motor, save myself some energy and keep myself from getting sweaty. Or if I've overslept, which is more likely, then yeah, I can more easily keep my speed up, and that's definitely going to get me into the office on time. There's also a safety factor to consider. In the morning, traffic down here is really heavy and it's really slow moving. So having the motor helps me to keep the speed of the traffic, and then when it all clogs up at the lights, well, I can just safely filter through the outside. While I am a little bit peeved at having to mix it with the cars every morning, being on one of these things does mean that I am certainly less restricted than I would be in a car. There are many benefits of going on your bike to work. You can get closer to the office generally when you're on a bike, and there are more benefits aside from that.
Two wheels also brings the ability to use the growing network of infrastructure that is popping up in cities. It certainly isn't Amsterdam here, but Bath has some decent car-free stuff that I can use to piece together my route. That can also mean tarmac free around here, so all the more reason for wide tyres and mudguards. One of the great things about the ebike Motion system is the app, which allows you to plan your journeys on its simple to use interface and give you turn-by-turn directions to your destination. You can also monitor your battery level more closely and tweak the bike settings so that it suits your style of riding. Right, time to do some important work.
Well, that's an important day of work done. And if I'm working from the office, then the ride home is going to be my only chance to actually get out on the bike. Let's go and smash out some hills.
Some of the lanes around here are savagely steep. Gradients regularly get over 20% and the surfaces are far from perfect. I guess that's the trade-off for getting away from the cars though. If you don't particularly like steep climbs, then an e-bike can help to level them out a bit. It isn't cheating at all, but it's just making your ride more enjoyable. For me, well, I can do these climbs on an acoustic bike, but I'd be pedaling squares in my lowest gear and it'd take me ages. The e-bike allows me to tick off more climbs at a faster pace.
Now, you might be sitting at home and saying, Liam, that e-bike's no use to get me fit. Well, I tell you, honestly, you can really get your heart rate up on one of these things if you want to. Or if you just want to have a nice leisurely spin through the lanes, you can sit back on the motor and just pootle along.
You're going to demonstrate riding hard first, though, aren't you, Liam?
Do I have to?
Yep.
Now, once we get onto the stupidly steep stuff, it's all about the torque that the motor provides. What we have here is the ebike Motion X35, which delivers 40 Newton meters of torque. This is perfect for the stupidly steep stuff and pulling away from traffic lights. And yes, I am still working hard.
Aside from the motor, this bike's other practical features are a benefit out here in the lanes. The nice wide tyres are more comfortable over the broken road surfaces that you'll often find, and the wider contact patch is great for providing grip. Rainwater and surface runoff from the fields can coat the tarmac in gravel and debris, and that means punctures. Tubeless tyres cope with flint and thorns much better. I'll run these tyres at a pretty low pressure too. It might be in my head, but I'm convinced that the floaty feeling that you get over the potholes and muck is a bit faster too.
Right, I think I'm about ready to head for home now. And about this time of year, actually, we start running out of daylight. What that means really is that we're back to running the big lights up front. Now, this is at least 1,000 lumens. I've got 1,300 up front, got 80 lumens at the rear. I'm gonna run that flashing. Once we get really into the depths of winter, this one is gonna have to go on constant because I am gonna be riding at night. So I will put a flashing light up on the back of my helmet. This one, I'm gonna change this to my backup light and use a external battery pack front light. They're just generally more powerful. Generally the batteries last a little bit longer too. Well, that is our ideal commute and the setup that we think is perfect for the job. Now, for me, an e-bike just makes sense for this type of thing. One, I found it really easy to get to work. I'd be happy to do that commute every day. And then after work, well, it kind of made my post-work ride a little bit more enjoyable, especially because if I didn't want to suffer up the hills, I didn't really have to. But, you know, when I want to really test my fitness, I can. If I had a bit more time as well, the motor would actually tempt me to do a longer ride into the office and, you know, maybe even extend my post-work ride if I wanted to. So there you go, we've told you about our favorite commute, but what are your commuting tips and tricks? I bet we've got loads of viewers that have commuted for years, so bet there's plenty of knowledge out there. Share it down in the comments below. If you like this video, remember to click like and subscribe to see more from us. We'll see you in the next one.